Well, staying with this story, the Seoul City Institute for Health and Development Communication has had talks on the national liquor norms and standards. This head of the Department and Trade of Industry's public hearings to unpack the findings from those talks last week is Seoul City's Savera Kalideen. Savera, good morning to you. Just explain to us the nature of those talks. Where do you guys stand on some of these issues?
Good morning. Thank you for giving us a chance to talk about this. Just listening to some of the comments that people made on the clips that you showed, it shows the different points of view and the different interests that we have in the country around the issue of liquor regulation. The reason we need this regulation, not just of unlicensed outlets, but also of licensed outlets, is because in Gauteng alone, we have 35,000 traders trading legally. 15,000 of those have permits, and they have to convert those into licenses. But we also find that 75% of injuries that are caused by interpersonal violence have a link with alcohol, and 50% of the deaths that are caused, that are a result of interpersonal violence are also linked to alcohol. Alcohol costs the economy 38.5 billion per annum. That's 1.6% of our GDP. And you'll know that the three main causes of death and disability in South Africa are firstly HIV, interpersonal violence, and alcohol, in that order. And obviously alcohol consumption is linked to violence as well as risky sex. So if we look at that social problem and we look at the very big cost to the economy, obviously government has to do something to address the current situation. This high level of high number of outlets that we have are because we have a serious problem with job creation in our country, and people feel that this is the easiest thing that they can take on board. But at the same time, when we've done our own formative research, going out to communities across the country, they have said that the outlets open almost 24 hours a day. There's high levels of noise pollution, there's high levels of dirt, there's high levels of violence. They feel threatened, their families feel that it's unsafe to walk outside after 6 o'clock at night during winter and when it's dark, basically. So what we have are differing interests. The interests of people who are not in the alcohol industry, whether at shebeen and tavern level or, you know, the actual alcohol industry. So what government is trying to do is to increase regulation so that there's some control. Because remember, in townships, most of these outlets are in residential areas. We don't find outlets in suburbs. So the people that are affected by these outlets having, you know, noisy outlets and violence, etc., are the very people who have high unemployment. So by trying to address one person's needs, creating jobs, you're affecting somebody else because their children can't go to school. The other thing is that 130 people a day die because of alcohol-related illnesses. So not just illnesses, but also road traffic accidents. So it's clearly something that government must address. So if you look at these 35,000 outlets, for example, as part of our Phuza Wise campaign, we've suggested that every outlet sell food. You create an additional 2 or 3 jobs. Every outlet has a security guard on site because you're running a business. Again, you're creating more jobs. So increased regulation does not necessarily mean that people will lose jobs. Some people, if they're next to a church or they're next to a school, they might have to move their outlet. But we can all understand why that becomes necessary, because these two places are in conflict with each other. And democracy also means cooperating, compromising, coexisting, you know. And it's difficult for people to change because they've been living in this way for a long time. But we've got to look at the bigger picture. We can't just look at individuals. We have to say, yes, we want to address your individual need, but we also have to address this broader social problem that we are living with.
Sorry, I've got an issue with this, and the reason why is that I think education is the problem. Alcohol is a business that's going to be there for a long time to come, no matter what happens.
Yes.
But I think that all these issues relating to violence, they're all there because children who are in their teens are encouraged to drink by hook or by crook. And if we showed them what the ramifications or the implications are of drinking, then you might have decreased. I think that the taverns are being punished for people's irresponsibilities, and it's not their fault that people come in and abuse alcohol, and that maybe it's a little bit unfair on them.
Okay, so young people are not being encouraged to drink alcohol by hook or by crook. They're being encouraged to drink alcohol by the pervasive marketing in our society. Just the top 3 alcohol companies are spending about R1 billion per annum advertising, and there is evidence from at least 13 different longitudinal studies, which means over a 20-year period at least, to show that in societies where young people are exposed to alcohol advertising, they're more likely to begin drinking. They do so earlier than in countries where people don't have exposure to alcohol advertising, and they start to drink more from the outset, and they continue to do so throughout the life cycle. So your second question was around whether education would be the way to go and that taverns are being disadvantaged. Actually, education, while it's important, it's considered one of the least effective ways to change behavior. There's 10 strategies from the WHO, the World Health Organization, about how to reduce consumption in a society. And the way you do that is you increase pricing, you reduce hours of sale because you reduce availability, you reduce marketing, which is advertising, and you do inform people about what's a safe and healthy way, but it is way down the list of effectiveness based on evidence. So any policy that we introduce obviously has to have an evidence base to it, and so information is useful, but it's not enough. We all know, for example, we shouldn't eat too much, we shouldn't have a lot of sugar, but we still do it, okay? So if you want people to follow a healthy behavior, you have to change the environment first. So changing the environment means making alcohol less available and less affordable and not marketed. That would then make it easier for people to adopt the healthy choice.
Very, very interesting. I'm surprised by that stat. Wow. People want to get more information on that. Where can they sort of contact you?
Well, they can contact us at Soul City, www.soulcity.org.za. On our Soul City website, we have the Puza Wise campaign website, which is our alcohol safe campaign, and they can contact us. We are based in Johannesburg.